Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius on the Charles. Today is the 3rd of October 2018. So welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's afternoon session where we're gonna have a look at a few instruments but as always, before we do that, let's have a read through our risk disclaimers. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so let's not waste any more of our valuable time and let's jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on, and that's S&P. Now I was looking at this one last week basically, and I was talking about this potential here, this kind of potential rebound here. But as you can see, this upside support line, this very short-term upside support line within this kind of rising channel formation, it held the price from dropping lower here recently, as you can see by the arrow that I've got here. Let me just kind of drag this chart a little bit down, and as you can see, it kind of held nicely here and pushed up higher. Now of course it didn't push it all the way here where I've had my arrow ending, but still nevertheless it had a nice push. So for now, let's just get rid of this arrow and let's see how everything's shaping up. Of course we're stuck here between these two key levels here. Now the peak of the 29th of August, which is around approximately the 29.16 level, and of course we're just slightly below the all-time high that we saw here in S&P, and that's around the 29.41 zone. So if this upside support line, this very short-term upside support line, remains intact, then yep, we could see a follow-through here to the upside. But to be honest, for us, looking at this picture right now, for us to get comfortable with the upside, we'd probably need to see a good close here. A nice, well, initially actually a break of the recent all-time high that we saw here around the 29.41, and then we could aim for higher levels. But for now, of course, just continue monitoring this one. Let's see what it wants to do with this short-term upside support line taken from the low of the 28th of June, and then of course, yep, we'll see how it develops. If we get a break here below this, now that's wonderful for the bears, because we could see further declines towards these key support zones. The first good one being around the 28.85, and then of course below that the 28.65. Of course, we could then examine the potential of this one shifting all the way here towards the lower side of the rising channel, of course. But again, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Certainly, that could be a possibility, but for that possibility, we would need to see a good close below this upside support line. And like I said, I've just mentioned the upside. For us to kind of get comfortable, we need to see a good break and a close above the all-time highs here near the 29.41 zone. Let's jump into one commodity, which is a precious metal, and that's platinum. So basically, we got an interesting picture here on the daily chart. We do have this breakdown of the this downside resistance line. Now of course you can say that we had a break here as well, but to be honest, as you can see, we kind of around here when we had this break around the 20th and the 21st of of September, we kind of retraced back down here, but we couldn't drop below the 809.55 level. I had this one marked here, and also you can see I had an arrow showing that if we would get a break and a close here below, we could probably expect this one to travel all the way down here towards the short-term upside support line taken from the low of the 16th of August, but that never happened. So we had a nice rejection here around the 809.55 level, and we actually moved back above the downside resistance line. This downside resistance line taken from the peak of the 25th of January. Certainly for now, we're just very cautious because it's currently kind of sitting not far from its 100 EMA here, shown as the green line, and also at the same time it's kind of stuck here below this key area of resistance near the 835.45 zone. Let me just quickly adjust this a little bit. There we go. So we're stuck here below this level. So basically, in a way, this is shaping up for well, actually could be shaping up for a possible break here, until of course we get that. We cannot really assume that or consider that, but basically we need to get a break. That's what, long story short, guys, we need to see a nice good break here and a close above the 835.45 in order to kind of aim for higher levels, and of course higher levels like 845.55 or even the 860 level here, which was marked here by the high of the 9th of July and the low of the 20th of June. Now also slightly above that we do have the 200 EMA here, but again, let's see initially what it wants to do with this 835.45 level, if it actually wants to break it and stay above it, because if it does that, then yep, it could be opening the path towards these higher levels that I was just mentioning. On the downside, well, if this suddenly gets back down here, makes a move below the downside resistance line, then to be honest, we're still going to be very cautious here, because for us to start examining lower levels, we would need to see a good close below the 809.55 level, and this way we could aim for this upside support line initially, this short-term upside support line, from which again maybe maybe platinum could rebound and move higher. But again, let's not over speculate here. Let's see what it wants to do on the upside. Of course, let's see what it wants to do with the 835.45 level, if it actually wants to stay above it, or if it actually wants to retrace back down here and break and close below the 809.55. So in a way, you could say that we are stuck here in this little range here between these two key levels that I was just mentioning. Jumping into one crypto now, the Ethereum. This one is well, it's not moving much. Let's put it that way. To be honest, I mean, at the moment, of course, it looked like it could have gone kind of straight away higher, but as you can see now, we're getting a bit of weakness here. So for now, we are still somewhat bullish because we have broken this this downside resistance line taken from the peak of the 6th of May. Certainly kind of seems to be like that, but again, for now, we're just gonna keep on monitoring it. We're not gonna take any action here, but if let's say we'll start seeing moves towards the 250 zone, now this is where it could become more interesting, because a nice close above that level could potentially open the path towards the $322 price tag, where it could also meet the 100 EMA, shown here as the green line. So but then again, like I said, for that to see, we would need to get a nice good close above the 250 level. Then, like I said, this is where we could start potentially considering the these higher levels. But for now, again, you can see that there's a bit of weakness coming in here. Certainly not a lot of that, but nevertheless there is some. And For now, keep your eyes on the downside. Of course, keep your eyes on this 192.50 level. If we get a break below this, we could start testing the downside resistance line from above again. But for us, let's say, to become more bearish on this one, we would need to see a good break and a close below this level right here, and that's approximately around the 167 level, and that level here was near the lows that we saw around September time. Very good potential area of support, of course, but if that support gets broken, it could be a gateway towards lower levels. So for now, be very cautious and keep your eyes on these this key support level and this key resistance level here above. So let's see, and let's wait for it to move out of this little range here that we got. Jumping into a few pairs now, Aussie dollar continues to sell off here. It kind of continues to move lower. Initially, there was a point where this week we saw this. Well, actually, on Tuesday, it kind of got back towards this key level here that we were keeping an eye on. And then I was talking about this level in one of my previous videos last week, and I was talking about this 0.7235. And as you can see, it kind of acted as a nice area of resistance. Of course, last week it acted as a good support. But then it got broken on the 27th, and now again it became good resistance. So as you can see, now it kind of the pair moved away from it to the downside, and we're currently sitting near the 0.7140 mark. Now this has been marked here by the lows of the 17th of September. Certainly, if we get a break here and close below this, then we could expect Aussie dollar traveling all the way here towards the 0.7085 mark. Now this was marked by the lows of the 11th of September, or in other words, the lowest point of September this year. So but again, like, for us to see that and consider that level, we would need to see a good close below the 0.7140. But in the meantime, as you can see, it kind of stuck here just slightly above it. If it continues to hold, if the 0.7140 level continues to hold, we could see potentially something like a rebound here, where we could then aim for the for this downside resistance line. Now, just to kind of mention again, guys, this downside resistance line has been running here since around the 26th of January, so quite an important line to watch. As you can see, in the end of September, kind of tried to overcome it. On the 26th, kind of managed to break it to the upside, but never actually closed above it, and quickly got back below this downside resistance line. So it becomes quite an important one to watch. Again, we'll consider that line a possible test of it from underneath only if we get a rejection here from this 0.7140 level. So keep your eyes on this one, and as mentioned before, on the downside, keep your eyes on the lowest point of September, which is near the 0.7085 mark. So could be a nice potential level to watch if we get a close below the 0.7140. Jumping into EURGBP, this one is it's a bit of a tricky one. Certainly, as you can see, it's kind of after having this nice sharp steep spike here on the 21st of September, and since then we kind of the pair retraced all of that day's gains, and we're currently kind of not far from these two key support zones. So the first one is around the 0.8865, and the other one is just slightly below that, just about 10 pips away from it, and that's the 0.8855. Now, looking at this, basically, we need to see a good close below this area here between these, or should I maybe even reiterate this and say that we need to see a good close below the 0.8855 to be on the safe side in order to kind of consider further declines, further moves to the downside. There are some good levels of support here underneath to watch. Certainly keep your eyes on that one. Levels like these here around the 0.88 mark, so approximately there, good potential target, good potential area of support, but again, only if we get a close below the 0.8855. if this continues to hold, if this area continues to kind of act as a very good strong area of support for us to, let's say, start examining higher levels, at least for maybe in the short term, we would need to see a good move back here towards the 0.8915 level, and eventually a close above that level, and this way we could start targeting initially the 0.8945, and then maybe going back towards the highs of the 21st of September, and that was approximately around the 0.8995 level, or you can actually even round it up if you want towards the 0.90 level. So it could be a good potential area of resistance initially or just kind of initial target for us basically. But again, for that to see, we would need to get a nice close above the 0.8915 level. And the last pair for today, and quickly until I have got some time left, that's the USDCAD. Not going to spend too much time on it, but basically, as you can see by the chart here that I've got, this is the area that we're going to keep an eye on right now. That's 128.80. As you can see, it kind of acted as, in the past, acted as a very nice area of support here recently, especially in September. And now we're going to see it as a nice area of resistance. Basically, if it's going to hold, and if the bulls are not going to be able to push the pair above it, then yep, we could see maybe the bears kind of jumping in here and taking advantage of the higher rate, and potentially kind of pushing this one back down here initially. Of course, trying to aim for the 118.15 again, 128.15 again, and if that doesn't hold, we do have a nice good potential area of support here around the 127.30, and that was marked here by the lows of the 11th of May. But again, for such a scenario, for us to see such a scenario, we need to see a good rejection here around the 128.80, and we should see like this pair struggling to kind of overcome this barrier here. For the upside, even if we're going to go above it, above the 128.80, be very cautious here. Certainly, let's say consider this level here, the 129.75, as a potential kind of point here where it could change, where the trend could, the short-term trend could change to the upside here, and we could start aiming for the 131 level here, or slightly above it, just the slightly above it, the 131.10 mark. So keep your eyes on that one. Like I said, just going from these arrows here, you can see the potential ideas that I've got here around the USDCAD. So keep your eyes on those. And for now, guys, I'll have to wrap it up here. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and I hope you have a good remaining trading day. For the ones, of course, who are trading, for the ones who have finished the day, thank you very much, and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.